Okay, I'm back. I made it through all the first 9 rows before I came up here to switch to my black yarn for round 10 and round 11, and then I switched back to my yellow for round 12 and round 13, and I have 32 stitches in that last row. Like I said, I kind of left my yarns in place there, and right now our instructions for round 14 have us switching back to the black yarn. So I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch of that round, and I'm going to yarn over with the black and pull that through, yarn over, pull through again to make that first loop on round 14. And round 14 says we need to do 2 single crochets followed by a decrease, and we need to repeat that 8 times. So I'm going to show you what the decrease looks like. This was actually the first stitch, so we're going to follow that with my second single crochet, and we're going to do a decrease. And to do a decrease, we're going to take 2 stitches and combine them into one. So I'm going to put my hook into that stitch and pull up a loop, just like I would be starting a single crochet, but instead of yarning over and pulling through, I'm going to insert my hook into the next one as well and pull up a loop. And now I have 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those hooks. Loops, I guess, is a better word for them. So now I'm going to do my 2 single crochets for my next series of this pattern. And when it comes time for our decrease, I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch, pull up a loop. Sometimes it's helpful if you hold that loop with your finger as you insert the hook to the next stitch and pull up a loop till there's 3 on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, 2 single crochets followed by the decrease. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we'll just continue that pattern around. Hold on, my black needs a little bit of slack there. There we go. The yarn ball was attacking my hand. I did my 2 single crochets. Now I'm going to do my decrease. Single crochet, single crochet, decrease, pull up a loop, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Single crochet, single crochet, yarn over for a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Single crochet, single crochet, insert, pull up a loop, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. It looks like I'm coming to the end. I haven't even moved my stitch marker since all these before, because I always knew right where my row was ending. Single crochet, single crochet, and then we get to our last 2 stitches where we do our last decrease, and that should give us 24 stitches around. In round 15, we want to continue with the black for those 24 stitches. So you can stitch along with me as we make our way around. Some things you'll have wanted to make sure of while you did your project was making sure you're breathing as you're going through all these stitches, reminding yourself to relax through your shoulders and your arms, not have a super tight death grip on your hook. I do try to just lay mine gently in my hand, and I'm just kind of guiding. I'm not really gripping this too hard. As I pull up my loop and yarn over and pull through the loops, I then make sure that there's space at the top where my loop is still on my hook. That'll keep my stitches loose enough as I go around, and I won't have such a hard time inserting my hook into the stitches from the previous round. We're still going around. As you can see, when I get to going fast, I still kind of have my yarn going through here, but instead of having my finger extended out this way, it tends to kind of get down here and grab the work. And that just kind of keeps everything closer and a little less extra movement. There's no right or wrong way to hold your work. No right or wrong way to yarn over. It all ends up being whatever's comfortable for you. This is just one way of doing it. And I can see I'm getting close to the end of my round. I still have my stitch marker there, so this is the last one. Alright, so now I switch back to my yellow yarn and I do a single crochet and decrease pattern in my next round, and that's going to make it, you're going to really notice that your work is going to start, what's the right word I'm looking for here? The circle's going to start getting much smaller, is the most basic way to say it. But single crochet, then decrease. This time with yellow. Single crochet, decrease. It's my second one. Single crochet, decrease for the third. Single crochet, decrease for my fourth one. Single crochet, decrease number 5. Single crochet, remove any of your hair that might have fallen onto the project. Decrease. Number 6. Single crochet, decrease. Number 7. Single crochet, decrease number 8. And I tell y'all, I am still surprised when I get to the end of a round and my count is correct. Let's see how nice our little bee body is forming up there. At this point, I know I'm done with my black because we only have 2 stripes on our project. So I'm going to snip my black yarn. I'm going to show you how to incorporate it so that it doesn't end up unraveling for you. So this is the piece of the yarn that I just cut. I'm going to hold it against my work as I do my next round of stitching. I'm going to insert my hook and I'm going to make sure my hook goes past that black yarn right there, and I yarn over, and as I do that, that black yarn is kind of resting inside my work and it'll be covered by this row of yellow stitches, and it won't be going anywhere when we're done. After about 4 stitches, you can be pretty guaranteed that that previous yarn is secure and you can let it just kind of fall into your work. So that's 4, 5. I'm going to be ending up doing 16 as I go around here. Now you are going to see some bigger stitches here as you're going around, and that is a spot where we did our decreases. And the yarn is just going to be a little bit spread out. This is, like I mentioned, a 4 weight of yarn, worsted weight yarn. It's your most common yarn. Very easy to work with, very beginner friendly. But some yarns are a bit chunkier and furrier. And when you have those yarns and you're doing amigurumi or doll making or plushie making, those decreased spaces are going to be a lot less noticeable because the yarn is so puffy it'll kind of fill in those spaces as it goes around. But this is good too. We're going to make a happy little bee with his own personality. Okay, I've done the 16 around. The next thing was actually to cut the black yarn, was the next bit of instruction, and I already did that so I could incorporate it in that row. Next we're going to be attaching safety eyes. It says between round 7 and 8 with 6 crochet space in between. So I'm going to go to the top of my bee head because this is the top of him. I'm going to count my rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to stick a needle right there between 7 and 8. And as we look around our bee, we can see back here where things are a little jumbled. We don't want to want to make that the front of our bee. We want that to be the back. So I'm going to stay in this row but make sure my eyes are going to be really good towards the front of my bee. So I'm going to kind of keep my thumb there as I remove my needle. I'm going to insert my safety eye into that hole. And then I can see where it comes out the end here. I'm going to take this back part and push it down on there. It's going to end up so that like the screw part of the eye, I guess you can say, is pointing out, and it looks like it's in a bowl, if that makes sense. As you look at your safety eyes, that'll make sense. All right, and we need about 6 stitches in between our eyes. So here's my eye, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to make sure it's in the same row. I'm going to insert my sticky eye and put the backing on it, or safety eyes. And they call them safety eyes, but really they cannot be trusted. If you are making a project for a pet or for a child that is a choking hazard, you're going to want to forego the safety eyes and actually just embroider the eyes on. I can get you instructions for that if you'd like. And now we're going to start stuffing our bee. You just gently push the stuffing in. And I hope I gave everybody enough in their packet. Other things, if you don't have this polyfill filling, I have cut up socks that, you know, when you like do your laundry and only one sock comes back and you never find its friend, you can kind of cut those into loose shreds. Those work good for stuffing the inside of old pillows, all sorts of things. Anything that's just going to kind of give it a squishy consistency. All right, and we kind of want this to be in an egg shape. And now I'm going to go back to my round, and for round 18 I'm going to do 8 just decreases. So this is really going to close up the bottom of our work. There's one. Sorry, I think I'm getting out of my view here. It's a little hard to make sure that you're not picking up the stuffing with these stitches. I got a little bit in there earlier. 2, doing a little bit of extra yanking and pulling on my stitch after I create it to give it a little more tension. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gave me a little bit of a hard time there. 7 and 8. Okay, and it is just about closed there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to kind of pull through so I have 2 loops. I'm going to cut my yellow yarn. I'm going to pull this through all the way and pull down to kind of, it's called fastening it off. And then I'm going to take that tapestry needle, thread that through, and we'll just do some basic stitching from one to the other, one to the other, just one side to the other side to close off Mr. B. I don't like those two there. They're kind of elevated, so I'm going to try to do this to flatten him out a bit. We'll tie a knot to secure him off. That wasn't a very good knot.